Hello, everyone, and welcome to Seven Figure Agency Intensive Iron Sharpens Iron. My name is Esteban Baez, your host, and today I am interviewing
John Logar.
John. So happy that you're here.
Good to have you.
And you spoke at our event just now.
Literally got off the stage.
Yes, and everybody was super excited. They came up to you, asked you tons of questions. Tell me a little bit about your story. What got you into what you do? Tell me what you do.
So I've been in the game for nearly 38 years in the
Okay.
agency game. I've built several agencies. I've exited a few. They're large 8-figure agencies in the marketplace.
Okay.
Been in the software game, and now we're in the AI space with providing automated sales assistance using AI as the model to leverage sales opportunities, convert deals. And
Okay.
so I've been doing this a long time. I've coached thousands of people in the agency space over the years, and I get to speak at really cool events, at my friends' events who are amazing at what they do. And so, I guess for me, I've always been into business strategy and developing businesses.
Excellent. So what did you speak about today?
Today was just opening people's minds up to the idea of that they should be charging 6 figures or more to work with clients.
Okay.
So instead of charging the usual $1,500, $3,000 a month deal, they should be charging $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 a month for sometimes the same services. And perhaps talking to clients who are a little bit bigger, who have those budgets, where if you're being resourced by that level of budget, you're actually able to get an even bigger result for your clients.
Really?
So it was just basically explaining that, how to actually pitch a 6-figure deal and what that looks like for people.
Okay. So why do most people pitch low ticket instead of high ticket?
I think there's two reasons. One, I think it's the crowd that you're hanging with. So people are learning from other people at their level. And so if they look at what other people are charging, they tend to look at a similar price point. So they see, what are you doing? Okay, I do something similar. Okay, this is the price point. So that's one reason. Another reason is the lack of the true acceptance of the value that you deliver. So you actually haven't priced out what it costs you to deliver what you do, and you're always wanting to add more value. So you get into this trap of making it better and better and better, but we're not increasing the revenue based on the value that we're delivering.
Right.
So we undervalue what we do. Everybody tends to undervalue what you do. Even I undervalue the things that I do.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a natural thing to sort of go in with that mentality. However, when you shake that and you understand and you can look yourself in the eye and say, look, at the end of the day, this is what it's worth. When you own that, that's when the people who you're talking to will own that as well.
Okay. So you have to own your price.
Absolutely. You have to own your price. You have to own your product that you deliver. You've got to be juiced up about what you do, because if you're not juiced up, the client can't be juiced up.
Right.
And so, you've got to own your value. And in owning that value, when you do, your communication is going to be communicating with conviction. Right. So the client's going to be led by your conviction to say, hey, this is what the true value is.
Yeah.
And so they're going to go, okay, I get it. I can see that. And they're going to step into, not up to, into your price.
I see.
Up to, they don't know. People don't know the price until you tell it to them.
Right.
So if you give them a low price, they're going to step into the low price. If you quote a much higher price for the same value and same service, and you go, the investment that people make in our service is at this level, they will step into that price point.
Right.
Yeah.
So whatever number you give them, you're setting the bar.
Because they don't know the number until you give it to them.
Right.
They have no idea. You've got the number, right?
Yeah.
So you get to choose.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to not increase the cost, but increase the profitability without hindering conversion or without hurting your conversion options, the way to go into it is, that whatever your service is worth more. So when you're sitting down writing a proposal or doing a pitch deck, you write the current pricing in, and then what you do is you delete that and add 20% to that price. That becomes your price. So when you deliver to the client at the same value, right, same value, 20% higher price point, then that 20% is your profit. That's like net.
There we go.
You got no extra cost in deliverable.
Okay.
Everything stays the same. So you convert the deal. You'll convert because you've got the conviction at the lower price. You're going to have a conviction at 20%. So you're going to convert. So what happens next time is your next deal, you write that current price down again, delete it so you can see it. Delete the price, add 20%.
Yeah.
But do not add any extra value, right? Just increasing the price.
Just increase it.
Incrementally. So you close the deal. Now you're going to get to a point where you're going to get pushback. When you get pushback, what you do is you then add value and then increase the price again.
I see.
Right?
So pushback means that you're trying to sell it at a higher price, but now they're
they've
not
got
buying.
concerns. They might be questioning, what you're doing, or they've got questions about what you do or how you do.
Yeah.
They're trying to discern the value of what you're
Right.
delivering. So now all of a sudden you've got to educate them as to why they're investing at that level,
Right.
But what you want to do is you add more value,
Uh-huh.
and by adding more value, they're going to see, oh, there's more in this, and then you increase the price
I
again.
see. Now, I might sound really silly by asking you this question.
Mhm.
What is value?
How
do you define it?
It's basically what you perceive that you're going to experience from the exchange, right? You decide whether or not you're willing to make that investment, right? You as the owner decide the value of your product category.
Okay.
A person that you're dealing with is going to decide whether or not they see, like you're doing two things. You're either saving people money or making money, or you're saving them time, right? Or those three things.
Yeah.
I'm saving you time, I'm making you money, I'm saving you money.
Okay.
Right? Time is the most valuable thing. Right? If I was to sell anything, I'd be selling time.
Right.
Let me do it for you. You don't have to think about it. People who are very wealthy and who are resourced, they don't care what they pay. If you can get it done and you can take care of me, they understand that the most valuable asset they have is time. Because time is short.
Because you can't get it back.
Nope. And it's
Once
gone.
you use it, time is gone.
So why not spend time talking to people who can invest at higher value, than spend time talking to people who can't invest at a high value?
Right.
Because then if you're only having that conversation, you're only going to ever work with people who can invest in that value.
And how do you find these people that value time
So,
instead of money?
People, So people generally who are building things or who are growing, or businesses that are growing, understand they've got to make that investment in what they're doing. So it's not just the person, but it's how do we speed up our ability to expand or scale or generate more from what we're doing in the market.
Speed is important.
Speed is critical.
Because it has to do with time.
Absolutely. And the thing is, if you're at speed, that creates a momentum, right? It also creates pressure. But with that pressure and with that momentum, it still pushes you forward, right? It still breaks. Things have to break. Things are going to go wrong, right? So when they go wrong, you're going to raise the level of investment to get to the next level, right? So
Yeah. So they say every time you solve a problem, you create a new
You're
problem.
opening the door to another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we didn't have them, then we wouldn't be here. Right. Like people say to me, I want to be financially free. I'm like, I don't want to be financially free. I don't want to be free of my finances. I want to be engaged with my finance. I want to make sure I'm utilizing my finances. People, it's a word. People discern that word of being financially free with having resources, having choices. But wealthy people don't walk around saying, I'm financially free. Or people who've got resources, people who are running big businesses who've got resources, don't run around saying, hey, we're financially free. Right? They're running around saying, how do we get more?
How do we get more?
Because we can now use those resources to leverage time, leverage opportunity, leverage innovation.
All about leverage.
Yeah. Well, part of it's leverage, but more importantly, I think it's the desire. Probably the biggest thing is the clarity of what it is that you want to do. If you're not clear about what you're doing, that means you become unfocused. When you're unfocused, there's no certainty. When there's a lack of certainty, you've got no confidence. When you've got no confidence, you're going to struggle. You're going to go backwards. So the opposite of all of that is if you have a clear sense of direction and purpose and an idea of what it is that you want, that gives you a level of certainty, because now the only thing you're thinking about is how do I get what I want? Because I know what that is. Now I need to step into, am I doing what's going to give me what I want? Right? The next piece, if I've got that, then I've got certainty. If I've got certainty, I've got confidence. When I'm confident, I'm going to grow. If I lack confidence, I'm going to retract, right? And confidence is not something you manufacture. Confidence is something you experience. And it only happens when you do the things that are propelling you towards the thing that you want.
Doing the thing.
So if you move forward, if you want, like people say, how do I get confident? Confidence comes from doing, right? You can't manufacture it. You can't just go, I'm confident, right? It doesn't work that way. It's like, right? If you know and you understand and you can appreciate that. I mean, you look at, let's look at, everybody knows Alex Hormozy. Everybody knows that name. And you look at Alex and Layla's story, but they don't realize for the first 6 years of their life, they struggled. They went broke 3 times. They messed it up 3 times, like terribly, right? And so then eventually they got focused, they got clear, they've got a very, very clear direction that they're going into. So in the space of 5 years, they've got a portfolio of $600 million asset in 5 years. From zero.
But it didn't start there.
It didn't start there. It started from them getting clear and getting experience and learning and investing in themselves and doing all those things that most people don't want to do.
So you have to
Right.
do the thing
Yeah.
in order to experience confidence. Otherwise, you're not going to get confidence.
It's like if you don't, like people say, I want this thing. And when I say I want this thing, like say for example, someone says, hey, I want
$1 million agency.
I want $1 million agency,
Yeah.
right? But here's the thing: that $1 million is not yours, right? All that $1 million is not yours. So are we talking about $1 million revenue agency, or are we talking about $1 million in your pocket out of the $1 million agency, right?
Yeah.
That's a different story. If you
Yeah.
want $1 million in your pocket, that agency's got to be doing about $6-7 million.
That's right.
Right?
Which comes back to your talk.
Yeah.
Increase
What
your
do you
price,
want?
high
Increase your
ticket.
prices. Charge more, you get there faster, right?
Yeah.
You'll get more bigger problems, but you got the money to solve the problems.
I see.
So when you create problems when you're unresourced, those problems become hard, right? When you create problems when you're resourced, those problems become easier because you can buy your way out of it,
Yeah.
right? You can spend your way out of it. You can always find a solution. There's always something.
Right.
But you're resourceful enough to be able to do that. You've got the position to do that. At a lower rate, at a smaller rate, like $1 million agency, the average agency, I've seen many $1 million agencies that don't make any money, but you should be able to extract about $400,000 in net income out of $1 million agency.
Okay.
So $300,000 to $400,000 in costs, $200,000 in taxes, a couple of incidentals. You've got your marketing costs.
Right.
But essentially, you should be able to extract. Now, $400,000 a year puts you in the top 1% earners in the country.
Okay.
Right? That means that you're earning as much as the higher echelons of people are earning a year.
Right.
$400,000 cash a year puts you in the top 1% of earners.
Okay.
Right? After tax, that's net.
That's
in
net.
hand.
This is
That's
net.
Not
This is
before
not
tax.
revenue. This is net.
This is net, right?
Okay.
So you're making $400,000 net. You're in the top 1% of income earners.
Okay.
Right? You do that for 10 years, you can set yourself up for lifetimes.
Right.
But money's just energy and flow. It's just it's not. It's like you're using that as a resource, right? We manufacturing that. Yeah, we manufacture it.
Right.
So even Mother Teresa used to fly first class and private jet. Why?
I never knew that.
Yeah. Why did Mother Teresa fly? Because who flies private? Who flies first class? People who've got resources.
That's right.
Mother Teresa had to feed 3 million people a day, 365 days of the year. They still do it. To be able to do that, you've got to raise resources.
You need resources.
You can't raise resources from people who don't have money.
Yeah.
You have to resource yourself with people who've got the resources.
Yeah.
So what do? They hang out with people who've got resources.
That's right.
If you want to resource yourself, hang out with people who've got resources that are bigger than you.
What would you say to someone that's not hanging out with people with resources? What's going to be the first
Find that community, find that group. Or
penetrate it
learn
somehow.
from somebody. Learn from people so a lot of people make the mistake of looking at people who are 20, 30 steps above them. That's a mistake because they have gone through all the experiences you haven't gone through yet. And you can't leap from here to their mindset up there. What you're looking for are people maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead of you.
There we go.
Learn from that. Then the next step is 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. And before you know it, if you persist and that's your thing, that you want to do that in life, you're going to be hitting the upper echelons of where you want to hit. But everybody's looking at the iconic story.
Step by step.
You need to drag it back to where you're at. So this is where I'm at. I need to be the next level up. So I go from here to here. Great. I know I've learned my lesson. Now I need to hang out with people who are just about 1 or 2 steps ahead of me. I am looking to be the dumbest person in the room. I want to be in that room, the dumb person.
I see.
Because all I want to do is listen and hear and somewhere I want to find a way that I can add value to that conversation.
That's right.
But I want to be the most curious, the dumbest person in the room, right? Because if I can be that person, then it's amazing how people want to help you out, right? And so that's if you yes, learn from the greats, but look at those people that are around you that are 2, 3 steps beyond you. They have done what needed to be done to get to that step.
Right.
And that's what you need to do.
Find out what that is and do it.
Yeah.
Last question. What's the biggest mistake most people make when selling high ticket?
Wow. Not actually having a high ticket offer.
There it is.
Like just making it up. If you wing it, it's not real, right?
Yeah.
But if you're very clear about the value that you're going to deliver for something that you and I hear this when you're saying that word high ticket in my head.
Yeah.
Like what's high ticket? Like I have clients where we've sold $1 million deal, right? Some people go, wow, that's a very high ticket client, but most people in our community would say high ticket was $5,000 or $10,000 a month. That's not high ticket. That's just a price point, right? To me, if we're talking high ticket, we're serving companies that have the capability of investing millions in what you do, right? Like there's a guy I coach. He started 9 months ago from scratch. He does one thing. He basically creates offers to re-engage dormant leads in companies.
Okay.
Right now, so we're 9 months into that process. He's doing $1 million revenue a month.
Wow.
From scratch, right? Now, that's the exception to the rule. But here's the thing. He started talking to the rooms he wanted to talk to.
Okay.
He was talking at the level he wanted to work with. And so guess what? You learn from those people. You're going to learn that conversation. You're going to learn the vernacular. So naturally, you just need to close one deal at that level, and that's what he did.
There you go.
Once he got one deal and he had that confidence, then other people went, I want to try it. I want to try it.
Yeah.
So now he's gone from zero to, well, what's that? It's $1 million a month revenue. So in less than a year to do that.
So what do they say? If you do it once,
you can do it again.
If you do it again,
but who do you want to do it with, Estefan? Who do you want to do it with? Do you want to do it with the players or do you want to do it with the plebs?
I see.
Right? I want to play the players because you're going to learn more, right? At that level, you're playing a different game. You're thinking a different game.
Right.
You're being resourced to solve problems, right? But I still think the number one thing is be clear about what you want and then do what you say you're going to do. That's probably the biggest self-loving thing that you can do is to honor what you say that you want to create for yourself. That is a gift of love to yourself. But if you don't do that, that's the lie, right? Whatever you do not to take you into that presence of the thing you desire to have, that's the choice you're making. The choice is that if you say this is what I want and why it's important to me, and you go for it and you make that a reality, that's the greatest gift of love you give yourself.
Go for it.
Because you are the person, right, that is reflective of all those that will be around you.
Right.
So if you go for it, you're not only just loving you, but you're loving everybody else around you.
Wow.
Right?
Self-love.
So you've got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Got to get into the self-love.
Yeah. No,
a little bit of woo-woo, a little bit of woo-woo
I like
to finish
that.
it off.
No, I really love that. Self-love. So you gotta, one of the, loving yourself simply means to step into the person that you say you're going to be.
Yeah.
That's
it.
That's a high form
do that,
of self-love.
Everybody else will be loved around you.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Last question, and we'll end it here. What would you say to someone thinking about joining this community here at Seven Figure Agency?
You're probably in the hands of probably one of the best coaches and a group of coaches that I know in the agency space. And the fact that you've got an incredible community, you've got people who've built and scaled, like I talked about, be in the room of the people that are 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of you. If you're in the agency space and you're sitting at that 10, 15 grand, and you want to get to 40, 50, $100,000, this is the place to start. This is where you want to be.
Excellent.
So,
Thank you, John.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
No worries. You're welcome.
Yeah.